Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Tennis Manager. This is episode number 8. So, the first major update is out by this point, and I'm starting to see the signs that yes, things have been adjusted. First notable sign here is training. We did a heavy week of training, and where before we were seeing 6 attribute points and a large advances kind of across the board, anywhere, everywhere, anything trained was seeing a large progression. This time, yeah, we got 3 levels, but 2 of those were less than 7% away and were trained, so they were already on the verge. And one of those in reflexes, there we got 28% plus a little bit more than that. I'd say we got about 30 to 32%. That was my focal point of the week. I did multiple training sessions specifically for reflex. And when you look across the board, look at the progression we've seen, it's actually quite minimal. To back that point up a little bit further, if you look at our chart, our table here of progression from the start of the year, you could see how we have progressed and how rapid it was. When we had constant tournaments, there was no progression. We were winning each and every one of them. Took a little break. Every other week basically was a tournament, and we improved pretty rapidly. We then had no tournament for a month, and you can see that huge jump. But then we've had just a few weeks of training over this last little stretch. But if you compare the previous 3 weeks of training versus the last 3 weeks of training, so if you take here to here as a measurement, and then from here to here as an equal measurement, right? Compress that down, and what we're looking at is a lot smaller gains than what we had. In fact, I'd say we're 3 weeks is the equivalent of 1 to 1.5 weeks of training comparatively of those 3 weeks versus these last 3. So it looks like training's been nerfed, so we're not going to be godlike in 2 years or 3 years. It's going to take a bit longer now. You could still see that happening by 24 or 25, but there is nothing wrong with a 24, 25-year-old being the best player in the world, or a 21-year-old being the best player in the world. There's something wrong with the best player in the world being 16, because that was the rate we were headed, or so it seemed. If you can back that off by 4 or 5 years, you're onto something. Lately in the junior rankings, we were absolutely dominating every single tournament. It was all wins. Even the high-level tournaments, it was all wins. I've had 2 tournaments from where we left off last time. Didn't show any of that because it was junior tournaments, and it was like, yeah, we just keep winning. Well, we did win one of them. So we won a 500 level tournament, the Osaka tournament in Japan, and that was a couple weeks back. But the week before that, we had a 300 level tournament, and we lost. And we didn't just lose the final, we lost in the quarterfinals. It was still a ways yet to reach the final. We still had a number of players to get past. The player that beat us, just inside the top 50 on the junior rankings. What I also noticed during those 2 tournaments was, outside of a couple matches against very low ranked individuals early on, where we blew them out 6-0, 6-1 type sets, things were closer. 6-3, 6-4. We had a match go to 3 sets. Does that say that they're still balancing? Maybe still needs some additional work? Possibly, but of course we are now at a certain level, competitive-wise, that, maybe the juniors, for the most part, outside of the best players, are a little too easy for us, because we have grown and developed into a pretty strong player. Again, going back, the physicals are now 13 plus everywhere except stamina. The mentals are getting there pretty rapidly. And even in the technical, where we have a long ways to go, and that's the one that should be holding us back at the moment, even the return is about to hit 13. Backhand accuracy is 11. Forehand accuracy is a 10. Even the smash is already an 8. Things were coming along very rapidly. Now that it's slowing down, hopefully this means we have reached a point of limitation. We're not just going to win everything from here on out. For the remainder of this year, as we're about to hit the final month of competition, is going to come down to the junior finals. If it's like last year's edition, it's the top 8 in the junior rankings. Let's hope we are offered a challenge so that we can still play in the juniors next year. If we do go on to win it, then we won't play juniors at all next year. We'll focus on the World Tour level. We'll take some losses. We will not be a dominant force going out and just winning anything and everything. I don't know if firing me is actually a thing or not in this game, but the board is somehow really upset with me, even though we've achieved 2 of their 4 goals and we've had a very dominant year, all things considered, based on what expectations were. But the board wants me to increase the overall reputation. Not sure how we haven't achieved that, but I do know that reputation is guided largely by your facilities. So we need upgrades. The second thing that they're not happy about is that they wanted the sports center to hit level 1, which we're not there, and I have done no upgrades to the sports center. So to address that, I've done 4 upgrades this month and still have some cash left over to the sports center, and that is clay courts, grass courts, indoor courts, getting them all up to level 1, which does come with a small increase to our revenue versus expenses. They're all going to take 1 month to finish, so hopefully that comes in before we are final evaluations for the year, though I think it actually might just miss that and enter next year's evaluations. But then the paddle courts, which is going to produce a bit of money versus income. So altogether, we're talking about an extra $20,000 a month over expenses, but all will take that 1 month to finish. 500 level junior tournament. We entered as the 1 seed, ranked 3rd overall in the juniors. So the top 2 are not here, but we had a first round bye. Second round was against a low ranked opponent. Blew them out, 6-0, 6-0. Third round, still against a low-ranked opponent, but definitely somebody better. 6-2, 6-2. Fourth round, up against a seeded player, about 16th in the junior rankings. And we have ourselves a close contest. 6-4, 7-6. It was considered a balanced match. We did come out on top. Tactics could play a role in that, but it was a lot closer contest than what we'd been seeing. This type of match was the one where it was 6-2, 6-2 before, and both of those previous would have been 6-0, 6-0, or one of them maybe 6-1. Semifinals against somebody ranked a bit lower. Finals, potentially the number 4 player and 2 seed here, or Kruger. We knew her as Krager, but we had Isabella on the team, the South African, one of those young players that we developed in the previous series. We still win, but the Ukrainian pushed us to 3 sets. She beat us 4-6 in the opening set. It was a very close contest in set number 2, 7-5, and then 6-0. So this does show that there at least has been some balancing. Now, I'm thinking we're still a little too easy, right? We shouldn't necessarily be this good already in our first season. The technical attributes are absolutely not there. And when you get the matchup, it tells you whether it's balanced or whether it's going to be hard or whether it's going to be easy. When it's easy, on paper, attribute comparison, you're better than them by a wide margin. When it's balanced, means you're in the same ballpark. It's possible that it could go either way. When it's hard, it's not to say that you're never going to win, right? We saw that in last year's edition. When it's hard, you're going to win some of those, but not a lot of them. when it's hard, you're likely to lose. And that would be the case. You lose 75-80% of those matches against a hard opponent. We've been winning 80% of those matches. The balanced ones, we've been winning 95% of those. The easy ones, we've been winning 100% of those. So, the balancing did need some work. The balancing looks like it has been addressed, at least to an extent. I would venture to say it still needs some work at this point because we've seen those comparisons. I've had balanced matches and we're winning those. We have lost one match and we have definitely had some closer matches. So it's closer than it was. And that's good news. I'm only interested in playing out the junior finals, as in for the year, because you've seen enough of us winning. You've definitely seen enough of us winning. Even though we've only won a single 500 level junior tournament, there's not that many on the calendar. And we've won plenty of 300 level tournaments, and there's not really any difference. The 1 and 2 seeds aren't even here. This is 3 and 4. Or ranked players. You know what I mean. Okay, here you go. Tough match. Talia Gibson has better form, apparently, and is better on paper. We have the high serve intensity because that's what's supposed to help us out. We're not adjusting anything else. But we beat her 3 times previously. 3 times. 18 years of age. Should be better, especially if she's somebody that has potential. 85% win rate. Wins a lot. And we beat her 6-1, 6-0. We've had closer matches. We have absolutely had some closer matches. But not all the time. Gibson should have beaten us. We should have come out on the losing end. If we were to win this one, it should have been close. So the balancing still needs more work. But it is better. It is better than it was. They still need to tweak it some more. This is definitely the training, I think, is the thing that has been addressed the best. Because when we focused on mental saw a good climb. Not focusing on others, you can see that they are almost stationary. It doesn't mean they didn't train. But what I focused on clearly had a good increase. And that was mental. In particular, positioning. I did 4 training sessions of deviation, which was for positioning. Now, it wasn't a 4-star training. It was 2-star for positioning. So it was kind of the equivalent of hardcore twice or maybe 3 times of, worthwhile of it. And it does balance out the others, which is why you see a decent amount in those as well. But it was enough to get us that level. Not enough to push beyond, but it was enough to get that level. That looks a lot better. And, when you look at everything else, we saw just small minor gains in a few places. Spins was trained and it went up 39%, but that's because it's level 4. This is good. Training is better. I think training is now balanced. It looks to be where we want it to be, which means it's going to slow down our progression. We're not going to be the world number 1 by early mid next season. That makes me happy. Now, in terms of the balancing, competitive wise, they've made progress, but they're not quite there yet. But, with that being said, let's now focus our attention on continuing the series, wrapping up the year. It's mid-November. We have that 1 tournament left to focus on, 1 tournament left to play for this season. And then we'll, continue to take things slowly until we really see things where we'd like to see them at, where it's competitive. Okay, so I am excited for this. This is a new feature in the game this year, and our first instance of getting it is perfect timing. So this is the juniors girls finals. It is the top 8. Well, kind of. Looks like we're missing 1. The 5th ranked player, not present, did not come for this one. So, okay, fine. She's not present. Top 9 otherwise. But, okay, let's rephrase that. Here's your top 8 eligible present. So we're playing against the best. But instead of 1v8, 2v7, 4v5, and you have your tournament breakdown that way, this thing is a 5-round tournament. We'll see how that one actually works out. But what we have is a group stage. We have round robin play. I'm so excited by this now being a part of the game this year. Now, what I'm seeing is you have your 2 brackets being the 1-3, what is it? 1-3-6-7 and 2-4-5-8. So we only get one of the lowest seeds, but we get a little bit easier and we get that competitive middle, the 4-5, which, can offer a pretty big challenge. Well, anyway, we have actually bumped ourselves up ahead of Nagunye to now second in the junior ranking. So we're not there at first yet. Fruvertova still holds that, but we have a group stage. Now, from the looks of things, I think we're facing a scenario of we should have 3 matches. So Petritic, Gibson, and Marcinko, depending on where she's from. We're going to play 3 matches. Now, the match record is going to be the first tiebreaker. Best record, that's your group winner. But tiebreakers, it looks like it's going to come down to sets and games. Now, after the group phase, we're going to have the main draw. That's the semifinals. And it looks like it's your top 4. So top 2 from each group. The 2 group winners versus the 2 second places. And then the 2 winners to play in the final. Interested to see how this goes. So that means we do need to keep an eye on kind of who's in second on the other side of the bracket to know who it is we're going to play. Presumably, if they go according to record, that would be Nagunye. So Marcinko, the Croatian 16-year-old, 9th in the rankings. We've gone head-to-head twice already, winning both. Balanced on paper, meaning this one should be able to go either way, but what we've been seeing even after the changes is we probably are going to win this one, especially if they're in weak form. We're not going to play every match of this final, especially with the round robin. So let's go ahead and simulate the first one, and it is comfortable 6-1, 6-1. Doesn't surprise me too much. It was the lowest ranked player in the group, and you can see we totally dominated on the winners. Unforced errors was fairly close, just a -2 on that, and that was enough to win 65% of the points. Gibson, who we've gone up against a couple times recently, including that last final, that 500 tournament, Gibson lost to Petritic, so that's who we're going to I don't know which of the 2 we're playing next, but those are the 2 we still have yet to play. Meanwhile, in the other bracket, Nagunye won her first, but Fruvertova lost her second match, so she's at 1-1 right now, meaning there's actually a fairly decent chance that Nagunye could end up winning that group. Petritic, or being French, I don't know if that would be Petrati. Could be. This is the 6th ranked player in the junior rankings. And we are, again, at balanced. So chances are we will come out on top, but she's got at least decent form compared to the other player. And it was a closer contest, which is important. I really think that's important because these were all blowouts before. 6-2, 6-3 is definitely not a blowout. 60% of points won. It was comfortable. But we were at least offered a bit of a challenge. And, here you can see the total winners, very even. The unforced errors, we played cleaner. And tactically, my deviation play works pretty well in being clean. We're not really pushing the baseline, sideline too hard. And we're definitely not pushing the baseline too hard. We're just working that ball side to side, back and forth, but definitely trying to keep it in play until the other player really can't get to it. And at the junior ranking, physical levels just aren't that high. So it's not all about balancing, right? Tactically, we're playing smart. It doesn't create a ton of errors for us. It also doesn't create a ton of beautiful winners. It's just you get the job done, right? We're not going to go into detail, but a quick note that my 6 staff members all have expiring contracts, and I'm going to allow all to expire. They are all level 1s with, I think, maybe 1 level 2 in terms of experience out of 9, which means they're all low quality. And with the type of money we are making, we can absolutely afford some better staff. So we are going to invest in that, which means I'm allowing those contracts to expire, and then I will replace them with some better options. Not the best options at this point, but definitely some better options. Group phase is now done, and I'm actually really surprised here. Not the outcome you would expect, especially when the table shows match record and then sets in games. Urgesi, Nogunye move on. For Vertova, the number 1 player in the juniors, equal on best record. She's got the best set record. She's got the best game record, +3 on sets, +10 on games, 2-1. You would think that would be enough to move on. You would think if some sort of tiebreaker might come down to her ranking. But no, for Vertova is out. Urgesi is in the final, the number 6 ranked player. Nogunye, second one through. Now, it at least makes sense that in the head-to-head there, that Nogunye, -1 on the sets, -1 on the games, struggled a little bit more. Poor Jabo was beaten up by all of them. Gibson on our side was beaten up by all. But we do have a clear difference with a 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3, nice clear standings. That puts me on top. But you'd also see that +17 was the strongest. The +4 sets was the strongest. But that sets up a semifinal that looks like this. We now have really the stronger semifinal is the one we are partaking in. Nogunye and ourselves. The winner should be the favorite in the final, regardless of whether it's Urgesi or Marchenko. Now, for the first time in this tournament, we are now facing an opponent who is not only in good form, but is on paper clearly a better player than what we have. So now that we don't have a balanced match where it should be 50-50 and okay, fine, we were good, we won all 3 50-50 matchups, that's not impossible, that's not unheard of. This is now the tough match. Nogunye should be able to beat us. Let's see if that actually happens. Match underway, and we have a nice rally to open things up. Nogunye with the serve. We win that long rally to get the first point, but then a double fault gives us already a 30-love advantage here in the first game of this semifinal. And we've got Nogunye on the back foot at the moment, really working her well side to side, and then we trick her. She was definitely anticipating that we were going to go left, moved to the center, coming across, and then we went back to the right. Oof. Nice ball there into the corner, but we handled it pretty easily. Ooh, just wide, otherwise that absolutely had Nogunye beat. And that's long, and that gives us 40-30. Break point here in this opening game. But we hit that one too long. Definitely not a cleanly hit ball there. Ooh, just out there. Gives us advantage. I think we would have had enough time to get to that ball anyway, though. Back foot at the moment, but that's wide. And we take game number 1. Just a semifinal here, but again, it's feels a little bit like the final just because it's the tougher of the opponents we're going to face. Good match here. I was surprised Nogunye got to that last ball, but in just reaching it. She definitely didn't get a clean hit it wide.
15.
And I think we were missing wide there, even if we don't hit the net.
Out. 40,
Where she hit that ball, that was in an awkward place between the legs. Where she hit that one. It's 40-15 now. Chance to open with the first 2 games, and we do. Let's go ahead and speed things up here through the rest of set number 1. We are enthusiastic. Our stamina is looking pretty good. Nguyen is a little tired compared to us, but still plenty of energy. It's, maybe 8 to 10% less energy than what we have. She is not happy. She's unfazed, though, so she's not too bothered, but she's, I guess you could say, is just simply focused. We've won all of the first 4 games, though. Strong advantage here in the first set. You would think 2 games out of the next 8 should do it. Now we're going to have to be 2 out of 7 as Nguyen does get on the board, get her first game. With service here, definitely getting a tighter contest from Nguyen at the moment, but we do ultimately come out ahead, and it's 5-1. Now just 1 game away from claiming the first set, and we're now sitting on set point, and it's also a chance to break here. Already, Nguyen on the back foot, and that's in. Game set.
Second set.
Into the second set. Now we are self-assured, and the fitness level is still high. That ball just long. That might have barely touched, but probably not a bad call on that one. I think they might have just about gotten it right. And it's 40 love. Also, Nguyen is both anxious and we were 8 to 10% different on stamina. I'd say we're now looking at about 12 to 15% difference, meaning she still has plenty, but as mine's dipping a little bit, hers is dipping just a little bit faster than mine is. Which is a little surprising considering my stamina is quite low. It's still only a 6. It's the one physical attribute that is well off of where it could or should be. Nice ball there, but good one from Nguyen, and that was not a hard ball, but she made a pretty big mistake there, hitting the net on that one. And it's already 2 games. Love, great ball there. That's a fantastic winner. It's 15 love here in the 3rd game of this set, and at the moment it's looking quite comfortable. Nguyen got me wrong-footed, but we answer back immediately with the ace, and then another good serve. And woo, this thing, intense.
40-15.
But we came out on top. Good exchange there. I think my technical skills, I shouldn't have been able to do that. I shouldn't have been able to hit those balls the way I did in that scenario. Attacking the net the way we did and getting those hard reaches. It's one thing to get a piece of the ball. It's another thing to place it well. And we were not only getting the long stretch, the long reach for those, but we were getting them in play, ultimately where you would want to get them in play. Sign of a top pro, not a young junior. And after breaking, we are now up 4 games love here in the second set, and it's all but assured that we will see the final. Let's go ahead and speed it up. And that one's into the net. Game, set, match. 6-1, 6-0. Nguyen not giving us the challenge we would hope for or expect under the circumstances. Italian-born Urgesi is who we face in the final. 17-year-old, 7th-ranked junior. Good enough to be considered a tough match. She has good form. I wasn't paying too much attention when it came to Nguyen, but I have taken a moment to glance, and Urgesi, her serves have not been anywhere near as powerful. Most of them just in the mid-80s. Her last one was 93 miles an hour.
Advantage.
Gosh, what would that even put us at? Maybe 130 kph. 140. You know, we're not talking about pro levels of power. In fact, we're talking about well below. So not a very powerful server in the opponent here. So that's one thing that is certainly noteworthy. We'll see where our power is at. I think we're about 6s now. I just hit 103 on that first serve. On that ace. So leading 1 game to nothing. 15-all at the moment. 81 on that second serve. Slow it down, making sure it's in. Alright, let's go ahead and speed things up. Both players a little troubled here early on, but fitness is good for both. We are up 2 games to nothing. We just broke without giving up a point, and look like we're going to grab our 4th one without giving up a point. Finally, she scores 1, 2, 3 in a row and actually gets a game back on us. 4-1. 5-1. She's already won as many games as Nakunye won, period. But with a chance to break here, it is set point.
15-40. Second service.
Second set point. She's playing that baseline.
Out.
And then go short. Oh! Boy, from where I was, that looked like it dropped in on the line, but the double fault there seals it. 6-1 in the first set. First one was definitely long. Second one I thought might have hit the line, but does not. We give up our own double fault. It's 15-15. Little awkward animation there, but in the end we did not get a clean hit on the ball anyway. And that one's well long. 30-all. That is one thing that I've liked about the animation. The improvement in the 3D match generator is you didn't see anything like that where every ball missed by an inch if it missed. That previous ball there, I mean the last one missed by 2 or 3 inches, but the one before that, I mean it missed by 2.5, 3 feet. It was nowhere near. And it's really nice to see that players can mishit a ball by a significant margin. At the moment, things are looking good for our first juniors title. And then we'll focus our efforts on World Tour from there. Already 5 games up here in this second set, and we have a chance to break here. Not dominating this game, it's 40-30, but that one's hit long. She hit that long ball many, many times. She's pushing that baseline, and she was pretty consistent, and you can see where that ball landed right there. Well out. It was long and wide by about a foot in each direction, and that was something she was consistently doing. I think if we looked at the 3D analysis, yeah, look how long she's hitting a lot of the time. She's only missed wide once. She only hit the net 3 times. But what she did do as she was trying to do some baseline play, clearly that was her objective. But she missed long as much as she hit the target here, right? The very much in-play balls, if you exclude this group, that's it. Winners, looks like she only had a couple. Now, it's still Sunday, so we haven't seen updated rankings, but we have moved up to 422nd in the World Tour rankings with a tournament win, our first at that level. But in the junior rankings, and that was just before the update, in the junior rankings, we were at number 2. We'll see where this actually puts us, but we did have a loss finally. We lost 1 out of 5 tournaments that we were in, but we still managed to win the last, 2, 3 that we had that were all post-update. So 3 senior tournaments, 21 junior tournaments. We played 24 tournaments this year, and I want to say we won about 19 or 20 of those. Again, that was all too easy. But in terms of the rankings, we come out just ahead of Nakunye in second. For Vertova is first, but we just passed Nakunye, and then we just won the finals. So either there just wasn't points awarded, or they have yet to apply. So we'll see if that changes here in a day or two. It is Monday now, though. The Junior Tour Finals, we were awarded 750 points for that victory. So we'll see if the rankings change following today. And here is our end of season report. And yes, I am listed as the best player on the girls' junior rankings. In the women's rankings, the top 100 in terms of best progression to enter into the top 100 was the Filipina Alexandra Ayala. And then the best progression within the top 100, Anna Samova. Best under 21, Ayala. Serve on fire, and best number of aces goes to Osaka with 777. That is a lot. Best returner, Pfeiffer, 51%. Best player on hardcourt, best win-loss ratio with more than 10 games played. Yeah, we got that one. 78% won. Best on grass, not us, so that's good. At least we didn't win that one. And yes, there is the updated. It came on Monday, just later on the same day. But winning that junior final was enough to bump us to the top of the junior rankings. So not only did we win the junior finals, but we ended up the highest ranked junior of the year, completing that goal. Now, I was expecting to make that a goal for either year 2 or year 3 for uni. Didn't expect it to happen so quickly, but hey, in the end, we were right there, and it was nice to get that out of the way. What that does mean is we are absolutely committing to the World Tour from now on. We've already won the junior rankings. Even if they continue to adjust the balancing and things get tougher, it's clear that we can at least hang with the bottom end of the World Tour. So I look forward to that being our challenge from here on out. For Vitova, Nakonye, 2nd and 3rd, Gibson 4th. Urgesi jumped to 5th in the rankings with her finals appearance there. That's going to do it for this episode and this season. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.